Hyperbola is the set of all points in a plane whose difference of the distance from two fixed points and foci are constant. The general equation for hyperbola is ax squared minus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equals to 0. The standard equation for hyperbola is quantity x minus h squared over a squared minus quantity y minus k squared over b squared is equals to 1 if the hyperbola is horizontal. And if vertical, quantity y minus k squared over a squared minus quantity x minus h squared over b squared is equals to 1.
Now I will be teaching how to find the properties if the general equation is now the one that is given. So let's say that we have a very easy general equation. So now what we just need to do is, since there is no other variable that we can group to this x squared and y squared, we can just simply write the formula. So the formula would be x minus h quantity squared. So I'm not gonna write it again because, as I said, I only have a little space. So this is the part where I was talking about that we need this 144 to be equal to 1. So what we did here is we divide 144 to 144. So in order for it to be balanced, we also have to divide 144 to both of this equation. So automatically we have a 1 here, a 1 here. So 144 divided by 1, that would give us 144 here, 144, and also a 144 in your y coordinate. So 144. So this would be your a squared and this would be your b squared. So next, we just have to simplify this. So for us to go any further, we just have to simply get the c squared, or we can write the value of h, k, a, and b for us to get the properties more easier. So a would automatically equal to 12, b is equals to 12, so h and k would equal to 0, 0 right there, 0, and then 0. Then a squared, okay, a squared is equals to 144, same with the b squared, so 144. And to be able to find our c, we just have to use the Pythagorean theorem again. So c squared is equals to a squared plus b squared. So we just have to add 144 to 144. That would automatically give us 288. So c squared is equals to 288. So we just have to square root the... let me just write it first. So our c would be the square root of 288, I'm sorry, would be 12 square root of 2. So c is equals to 12 square root of 2. Then our c squared would be 288. Our c squared would be 288. So there. Then you can now get the properties. So the first property is the axis. So we can say that this is a horizontal horizontal hyperbola because our y is the negative one. So yeah, that automatically means that our axis would be horizontal. So, and then for the second property, it's gonna be the center. So that'd be very easy again. Center. So it would be just 0, 0 from the given here, HK 0, 0. And then the next property would be the foci. So foci. So we would have two foci here. So because our formula here would be h plus minus c. So it's h plus minus c, that would give us 0 plus minus 12 square root of 2. Yeah, that's right, square root of 12 square root of 2. So we would write the 12 square root of 2 in the x coordinate because it is a horizontal hyperbola. So I'm just gonna write here. Write first the positive, so 12 square root of 2 comma 0. Don't forget to write the y coordinate. Okay, y coordinate. Then comma the next one would be the negative one. So negative 12. Just simply add a negative 12 square root of 2 is 0. There we go. And then next, the vertices. So vertices, let me just write here vertices. So the formula for vertices is would be h plus minus a. So our h is 0. So a would so automatically we just have to automatically it's gonna be 12 comma 0 and then negative 12 comma 0 because there. So this would become our vertices. So for our for vertices, we would have for vertices I'm gonna write it here because I think I don't have much space to write both the covertex. So the covertex, that would be k plus minus b. So the coordinate that will change in the covertex would be the y coordinate this time. So we would just write the x coordinate, which is 0. Okay, 0. Then write first the positive would be 12, and then comma the x coordinate again. Then this would be negative 12. Negative 12. There. So this is the covertices. Now we just have to find the transverse axis, the conjugate axis, and the c squared. So we just have to find TR first. The TR, the transverse axis. So TR would be equal to 2a. So 2a, that would just simply, so we just have to simply multiply our a to 2. So 2 times 12 would give us a 24. So our transverse axis would be 24. Then our conjugate axis is 2b. So that would automatically mean that 2 times 12, so our conjugate would be also 24. 24. There we go. And our c squared, just right here again in a your font. C squared would be 280. So there you have it again. Now I'm gonna be teaching how to get the general equation for this tree given, which is the center, the vertex, and the foci. So first, we have to know what is the axis of this tree given. So we have a horizontal axis because our center is 0, 0. So the x coordinate changes. So if the x coordinate changes, that automatically means that we have a horizontal hyperbola. So the next step that we need to do in order for us to find first the standard equation, because we first need to know the standard equation to be able to get the general equation. So first we have to find h, k, a, b, and c. So we can know h and k from our center. So it would be 0, 0. So let's have here 0, then 0. Next, we can find a. So how could we find a? So normally we can find a in our vertex if it is horizontal. So we don't have to solve anything if our center is 0, because if we use our logic, that would mean that 4 is our a because our center is 0. So that means the amount of the so how much the vertex means, that is how long would be our vertex. So that means a is equals to 4. So I'm just gonna write here 4, and that also means our foci. So our foci gives us our letter C. So that means that our C would automatically equal to 8. So we're just gonna write here 8. Okay. So now, how do we find the letter B? So we can find the letter B using the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem is C squared is equals to a squared plus b squared. But now, since we're finding the b instead of the c, we would write here, there. Now, we would just simply put the values here. So b squared is equals to, our c is 8. So 8, the 8, then square it would have 64. Then a, the square root of 4, 4 squared, 4 squared minus 16. So 64 minus 16, that would give us b squared is equals to 48. So b squared is equals to 48. To be able for us to really find the value of b, we just have to simply put a square root here, square root of 48, then b would automatically equal to 4 square root of 3. So this is your value of b, but the value of b squared is, I'm just gonna erase this so there will be, just to be clear. So b squared would equal to 48. So yeah. So don't mind this. I just made this so I wouldn't write the number 48 anymore here. So because I have really small space. Then we just write here 4 square root of 3. So now we found our h, k, a, b, and c. So now we can do the formula, or we can now solve for the standard equation. So the formula for standard equation is, I won't write it. I'm just gonna simply write the values of it right here, but I'm still going to explain. So our formula would be x minus our h, x minus h quantity squared. So our h would be 0 squared over a squared. So our a squared would be 16 minus y minus k. So our k would be 0 as well. Y minus 0 quantity squared over b squared. So our b is equals to 4 square root of 3. So for square root of 3 squared, that would give us 48. So this would be 48. Then let's not forget that it should be equal to 1. So now we can find the next step for us to simplify this equation. So this would be our standard form. No, our standard form would be 4 squared. I just as I said last time, I really don't have space, so I cannot write the standard full standard equation. So yeah, I skipped that part because I really don't have space for it. So the right standard equation would be 4 squared and 4 square root of 3 squared. So that would be your standard equation. So now, for us to continue to find general equation, we have to find the LCD of the denominator. So our LCD would be 48. So let's write here 48. So now we would just simply divide from 48 to 16 and then 48 to 40. So 48 divided by 16, that would give us 3. We just need to copy our x minus 0. X minus 0. There. Next, minus 40 divided by 48 is 1. So I wouldn't write it anymore. So automatically there would be 1 there. So just gonna copy this. So y minus 0 squared. Don't forget about the 48. Is equals to 48. So we are near at finding our general equation. We just have to distribute 3 to x minus 0 squared, and the 1 here to y minus 0 squared, quantity squared, equals 48. So now if we would be distributing 3 to x squared, so x, that would give us x squared, so that would give us 3x squared. Then copy the minus sign, minus, that would give us, so if there's a 1 here, 1 times y squared, so that would automatically only give us a y squared. So 3x squared minus y squared, then our 48, we need to move it from the right hand side to the left hand side. So from positive, it would become a negative. So just write negative 48. Then don't forget to write equal to 0. So there you have it. That would be our general equation. I'll just put the square here. So that would be our general equation for this 3 given.